a developer that you love leaves the studio and goes off to develop their own project, and everybody hopes it will be great, and then it completely sucks. Well, Titanfall is not that game, thankfully. It also is not a incredible game, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. So, welcome to another episode of Digitally Deconstructed, everybody. My name is Dinebot. I'll be taking you through the pros and cons, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Titanfall, ultimately culminating in the question, should you pick it up or not? So let's start off as we always do by checking out the options menu. If you are not into all that PC-centric kind of stuff, well, for one thing, why are you watching this channel? Because it is a PC-centric channel. But two, click on the jump right now and we'll take you right to the good stuff. So let's hop right in. Mouse and keyboard controls. Controller settings. Why this is here, I don't know. I guess some people like to play first-person shooters on PC with a gamepad. Regardless, it's here. As with most games, it's not rebindable, so take it or leave it, basically. Let's take a look at mouse and keyboard. So, completely rebindable key bindings with secondary keys. You'll notice I don't have any secondary keys because, honestly, the defaults work just fine for me. But if you're the type that wants to go ahead and rebind everything and set up a secondary key for it, go wild. Titanfall's got you covered. Automatic sprint. No. Just no. Audio settings. We've got a master volume and music and lobby music. This annoys me. This really annoys me. So as you can see, I clicked into the settings. There is no setting for the sound effects. It's just voice chat and master volume. I don't know why this is like this. It's insanely annoying. Music setting multiplayer. So this is for the campaign. Quote, campaign. Subtitles on or off, speaker configuration, calculate occlusion. So basically it muffles sounds coming through walls. And the emitter limit. How many sounds? All this stuff is basically here if you want to reduce the load on your CPU. Video settings. So we've got HUD margin, which is somewhat customizable. You can't move elements around, but you can make it small or large. Colorblind mode is here, which is great for players that do have color blindness. Now, the great thing I like about Titanfall is it does have 3 different settings. It even tells you what the different types are and how rare they are. So Protanopia compensates for a red-green color deficit, which is 1% of men. So that's a cool little touch. I like that they have multiple options in there. So for our advanced video settings, so brightness, display mode, widescreen, resolution, you've got a decent array of resolutions here. It does not really go above 1920 by 1080, whatever. Color mode, television or monitor. You can have your anti-aliasing, TXAA, and MSAA. VSync, which I always have disabled because it causes input lag. Field of view. Mine has gotten reset somehow. We're going to up it a little bit. Texture resolutions, very high, high, medium, low, insane. I play on insane. You've got anisotropic texture filtering. You've also got bilinear and trilinear. Lighting quality, shadow detail, ambient occlusion, water quality, effects detail, model detail, impact marks, and ragdolls are all here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of that. That is pretty much it for your options menu in Titanfall. It's not bad. It's not great. If you want to see a good one, take a look at the first episode of Digitally Deconstructed and check out the way that Gearbox did Borderlands, the pre-sequels menu. It is fantastic. So let's go ahead and hop in and look at the character customization, because this is a big thing with this type of game. Yes, Frontier Defense is now available. So, Titanfall, in case you don't know, is a hybrid first-person / mech shooter. So, you run around as a pilot on foot, wall jumping and killing grunts and other players. And you also can call down a Titan, which is a massive hulking mech that fires rockets and chain guns and punches things and jump jets. And it's a mech. Who doesn't want mechs, right? So let's take a look at the loadouts here. So, for each pilot, you have a set of custom loadouts. So you can see mine here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Also, for each game mode, you have 2 custom loadouts that you have to unlock. So right here, I have a wide variety of loadouts. I have my shotgun, I've got my smart pistol, my submachine gun, my assault rifle, and my other assault rifle. You also can choose a sidearm, an anti-Titan weapon, a tactical ability, ordnance, and tier 1 and 2 kit. So good customization on the various pilots. You can also choose your gender, which I find to be a nice little touch, as typical in this type of game, and what you would expect from the new studio established by the developers and creators of Call of Duty as we know it with the Modern Warfare series. You unlock kit as you gain levels. So run and gun kit unlocks at level 36 for me. So this is all very standard for the modern military / futuristic military shooter genre at this point. There's nothing really new here. For your Titan loadouts, you have the same thing. You have a variety of Titan loadouts you can store as well as the defaults, and loadouts for each game mode. There are several different types of Titans. The Atlas, which is an all-around, the Strider, which is a fast and agile, albeit squishy one, and the Ogre, which is your tank and is also very unmaneuverable. You can unlock various perks for the weapons. You can change the Titan insignia. There's a little bit of customization, and you can change your Titan's voice. Added on, you can, of course, as you see, rename each custom class so that you can see them easily as you switch loadouts between respawns. Now, something that's a little unique to Titanfall is the burn cards. Think of these as kill streaks, but not. These are something that you can use each time you respawn, but you can only take 3 into a match. You earn them for doing various challenges. So right now I have equipped Double Agent, which will make the NPC characters ignore me. Amp Smart Pistol, which will replace my primary weapon with a powered up Smart Pistol, and Packet Sniffer, which automatically gives me radar pulses, which will detect enemies on the map. You can get a ton of these, ranging from different amped weapons to a personal alarm system, which will give you infinite arc mines, to things like revealing all enemies on the map every 10 seconds, and even some that will take time off of your Titan timer. Also in the game is the Black Market. The Black Market will let you buy Titan card burn packs, which you can get by completing credits you can get by completing in-game challenges or selling unwanted burn cards. You can buy Titan insignias, which I'll go ahead and buy that one. Burn some of my precious cards. Titan OS voices, Forge certifications, which will allow you to skip challenges, and a wide variety of things. And also the daily deals system, which will give you, well, really cool things for a fraction of the price. So all in all, there's a lot of options customizable for Titanfall. As you would imagine, the stat tracking is here. It's a huge amount of overkill on the stats that you can track. It tracks kills, time, distance, pilot weapons, levels, and things like evac attempts. So all in all, it's a pretty well fleshed out pilot customization system with some really neat options to let you kind of tailor your pilot and your Titan to your own playstyle through burn cards and the Black Market. So, leaving all that aside, how does the game actually play? Well, we'll get to that here in just a moment. Digitally Deconstructed Part 2, recording start on options click, mark. Alright, so we've taken a look at all the various perks and tweaks that you can do to Titanfall. How does it actually play? Well, let's take a look. You've got a variety of game modes here. You've got Attrition, which is basically classic deathmatch. Marked for Death, which is one pilot is marked and you have to kill them while protecting your own. Frontier Defense, which is the new co-op. Campaign, Hardpoint, Marked for Death, Capture the Flag. Marked for Death is the one I was talking about up here. Hardpoint is your standard domination mode. Capture the Flag, I think we all know. Last Titan Standing, everybody starts with a Titan, and the last team alive, last Titan alive on that team wins. And Pilot Skirmish, which is 8v8, no Titans, no minions. So, let's go ahead and hop into the campaign so that I can show you this and talk about the gameplay. So here we are in Titanfall. Quite a pretty looking game, as you'll see. You have a lot of mobility with the pilots. There we go. So, the entire point of this right now is to win this attrition match. I'm going to call in a Titan here. So, this is where you get the dual nature of the game. You have your on-foot section, you also have your Titans, which are really cool, really big mechs that you can use to punch things and shoot things and generally be a badass. Now, this is the campaign mode of Titanfall. However, it is indistinguishable from the actual multiplayer mode of Titanfall because it is a multiplayer online campaign. There is no dedicated campaign like you would find in a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game. It is just told through story snippets in lobbies and voiceover that plays in the match. It is probably one of the least effective campaigns I've ever seen, and I found myself totally unable to care about the characters or the story at all. So it was a novel experiment, but in my opinion an absolutely failed one, especially because to unlock all of the mech chassis for multiplayer you have to play through the campaign twice, once from each side, and the matches are predetermined, meaning that even if you win or lose, it has absolutely no bearing on the story outcome, leaving you feeling like you really had no impact into the game besides just kind of shooting things. And out we go.
All militia forces, 3rd Merchant Fleet at your service.
So once you beat a match in Titanfall, you have this epilogue where the enemy team will try to get away and you'll try to stop them.
Okay, pilots, our little diversion, and by diversion I mean total ass whooping, was a complete success.
And this up in the top right is actually the story you're seeing. That is the extent of the story in the Titanfall campaign. So
Well done, guys. The IMC are attempting to escape by dropships, but I've marked
not a huge fan, but
Don't let
it
them
is
get away.
what it is. Like I said, I thought it was an interesting experiment, but really,
IMC dropships arrived. Take it
really
out
not a great thing. You'll play through it twice to get everything unlocked, and then you'll pretty much never touch it again. There's really no reason, because all it is just the same modes that you play in a normal game with some added voiceover that nobody hears because it's impossible to concentrate on people prattling on about going to this depot and doing this for this great noble cause while you're busy trying to run from 8 other people who want to murder you in a multiplayer deathmatch. So let's hop into some of the other modes and just kind of take a look at what else Titanfall has going for it, because despite the game's shortcomings with the campaign, there is some fun to be had in this game. So now that we are done with the campaign, let's go ahead and take a look at something more interesting, like a hardpoint domination match. I will say for multiplayer, one of the things you do have to contend with is that Titanfall does run on Origin. So you don't have your Steam layover like you normally do. You do have the Origin overlay, which I really don't like. I don't know, I just find the Origin system to be clunkier. If you like Origin, it's perfectly fine. If you're accustomed to Steam and not a huge fan of Origin, then you may find some frustrations with this. Also, the fact that unless all of your Steam friends are also on Origin, you're really not going to... Oh, I'm getting invited to join ranked play. So that's a thing in Titanfall as well. Unless your Steam friends are also on Origin, you're going to have to find new friends or convince everybody to join you. So we'll go ahead and back out of that. Convince everybody to join you on Origin. Let's go ahead and look at our burn cards. I'd like to get that and do that. There we go. So every day you have challenges that you need to defeat or complete to unlock things. What they'll do is they'll help you towards your regen, which regen is the same thing as prestige in Call of Duty. So I am currently a regen 1, meaning I've gone through 1 time. This person is a G1 as well. So I've changed my card to ranked, which is probably not a great idea. And here we see the other problem with Titanfall multiplayer. There's nobody playing it. I don't particularly want to do...
Ranked chip active.
Let's turn off ranked play. Back, leave, yes. What I think we'll do is hop into a variety pack. So this is the problem you're going to run into with Titanfall multiplayer, which may keep you from buying it. One, there's not a lot of people playing it. 2, there's a fair amount of DLC for the game, and it can make it harder to find matches. If you remember with other games such as Call of Duty or Battlefield, once a bunch of DLC came out, if you didn't have all the DLC, it became a little bit harder to find a playlist that you could actually join successfully. As this is the case with Titanfall as well right now. In fact, it looks like we're just not going to find a match, so I will go ahead and hop into a training match so we can continue to kind of look at the game. Full training. Actually, no, that will take us into a... let's do attrition. That will take us into the training program for the game, which is quite boring. One problem I do have with the game is the training program. It assumes you've never played a first-person shooter of any type before, and it coddles you and holds your hand, and it stretches out a little too long. So we'll go ahead and wait for other players to join this lobby real quick. Overall, though, with Titanfall, it is a fun game. It's an interesting concept for a first-person shooter. It definitely differentiates itself from the run-of-the-mill military shooter. With the Titans, they add a huge element to the battlefield because just one Titan dropping in can absolutely change everything. If you enjoy the free motion, if you enjoy the idea of a scientific or sci-fi setting, and if you enjoy the idea of being able to call in a giant robot that you can either pilot or have follow you around like a giant metal puppy dog and punch people to death for you, well, it's pretty fun. The matches can feel a little unbalanced, and there's a kind of weird thing going on with NPCs, which hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate right here in this game as well. You would have noticed it in the first match as well. There's a lot of grunts just kind of running around the field. They're there specifically to be killed. And you kill them, and killing enemies also takes time off of your Titan timer. So you'll see it in the bottom right. It counts down once the match starts, and once it reaches 0, you can call in a Titan. Now you can take time off of it by capturing objectives, killing enemy pilots, killing enemy specters, and enemy grunts. The problem with that is that, like I said, the NPCs are dumber than a box of rocks. They are just really annoying, really stupid. You can walk right up to them and kick them all to death, and it won't matter. If you get killed by the enemy grunts, I mean, you've really screwed up. That's plain and simple. You can stand in front of them and just watch them. There was one right there. So you see, he didn't even attempt to raise his weapon to fire. I do love the mobility options of the game, and that was an enemy pilot, I think. Yep. Don't know where he went. Got him. So a lot of the pilots run the cloak ability, which is really kind of run the ghost ability, which is really nice. We're going to go ahead and pull rank with my burn card here. So you see that when you die, if you have a Titan, you have the ability to spawn as a Titan and drop directly into combat instead of waiting for it to come in, which is really kind of nice. It's a neat little addition to the gameplay. But, like I've said several times with the game, it really feels like Titanfall was trying to do too much and they just didn't execute all of it as well as they should have. There we go. So we'll take a look at the Light Strider here. The animations for getting into the Titans are very cool and very well done. I will definitely give them some props for that. So you see the grunts here forming up around the Titans. One well-placed shot could take all of them out. Like I said, their AI leaves a lot to be desired. The map design, on the other hand, is excellent. You have plenty of lines for running with your pilot, wall jumping, things like that, clinging to walls. You have plenty of avenues for Titans, and knowing the avenues that Titans can take will definitely help you get the drop on enemy Titan pilots as you go through the game. And you can also execute the pilot, which is always fun. And of course, as soon as I demonstrate it, it happens to me. So the Titan gameplay is really one of my favorite aspects of the game, and they have added several modes, as like Last Titan Standing, that cater to that. So as you see there, I was simply just killing grunts. Let's change loadouts right quick. And I find that a lot of the time you will find yourself killing grunts. One thing that does happen in this game a lot, and is a major complaint that a lot of people have had, is server lag. The tick rates sometimes seem to be a little low, so you will think that you fired the first shot only for the game to inform you via your bloody death that no, in fact, you didn't even raise your weapon to that person, and they have simply slaughtered you. It's a problem with all these kinds of games, and easily alleviated with dedicated servers, but simply just is not the way that Titanfall runs. It's very reminiscent of Call of Duty in that fashion. So unless you have a very strong internet connection, be prepared to be frustrated by what would look like cheap deaths. Such as that. I never even saw that guy fire, yet he did. And that as well, let's look at that from his point of view. So on my screen I clearly jumped, on his screen I did not. So this is something that's going to happen to you constantly in Titanfall, so if you think that you can put up with that kind of frustration to play the game, feel free. But it's one of the reasons that I personally have not come back to the game, and a lot of people that I know that have Titanfall have not really come back to the game, is because of things like that, where you just get on a streak where you just die constantly because the game is lagging, the servers are not keeping up with what you're doing and everybody else is doing, and it's very annoying. So right there, I put a clip into him on his screen. Nothing. Definitely an issue to be aware of with Titanfall, something I had dearly hoped would be cleaned up as the game got older and has not been addressed in the slightest.
AI offline. Pilot mode engaged.
In case you are wondering, I dearly want to love Titanfall, but it's just hard to love Titanfall when the game has a myriad of problems. In summary, is it worth picking up? If you can find it on a decent sale, then sometimes. If not, I would advise against it unless you really are just that fascinated by the setting and really want to have a look at it. It has some great ideas. It is a fun game, but all in all, I think that you can probably safely leave Titanfall and play some other shooter, of which we have a great many that are much better on the PC. And I will be taking a look at some of them in some later episodes of Digitally Deconstructed. But for now, if you want to see more Titanfall, or if you want to see more Digitally Deconstructed, go ahead and hit like, hit subscribe to follow the channel. My name is Dimebot. Later.